10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
And we might not have 10,000 horses between me and Sam Smith, Slammin' Sam, but I know this. There's plenty of power on the Competition Plus Power Hour. How you doing tonight, Sam?
You can't start the show this way, Lee.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Boom.
All right, Lee, I am doing good. And hey, I don't know if you may not have 10,000 horse, but here in a couple of hours, a couple of days, hopefully I'm jumping on a plane. I'm going down to sunny California, leaving the 103-degree weather we have here and going to some more heat. And you know what that means, Lee? I'm going to have Jumbo Juice. I'm going to have In-N-Out. I'm going to have fresh Mexican food. And I'm going to see all of you guys' beautiful faces down at Pomona. So I am looking forward to that.
Nice catch. So you talking about your weekend coming up. I will be at the first Nitro Chaos, the Chris Graves promotion that he's putting on there at Eddyville Raceway Park in Eddyville, Iowa. I will be there this weekend. Looking forward to covering that, and you'll be able to see all the elimination videos from that later on. And by the way, speaking of elimination videos, you can check out on Monday Morning Racer on the YouTube channel, elimination videos from the PDRA. But speaking of elimination, Sam, man, look, eliminations were stellar out there in Sonoma. What caught your attention of the round-by-round action?
I mean, round by round, a lot of people are going to say this. And look, Lee, I'm just going to get out there right now. And we're going to talk about this later. But round by round, I can honestly say Aaron Stellfield, obviously, he crushed, everyone wasn't expecting that. Also, looking at things round by round, how could you not count out the Smith family and what they've got going on? Just kind of a lot of different stuff round by round that's going on. But I would say I was surprised mostly by what Matt Smith did. It was surprising. And then Angie Smith doing it. So the bike class, I know we're going to talk about that, but then pro stock, regular pro stock, I want to talk a little bit about that. I've heard some things that people have said that are kind of, I think we need to adjust the way we look at that pro stock field.
And what is that adjustment we need to make? How do we need to check?
We're going to dive right into it.
2020 vision.
And that's the problem. We're all still looking 2020 and not 2021, right? No pun intended there. But you hear a lot, it's a surprise that he wins, that Aaron wins. People are shocked by this. At this point in the year, and how we've talked about it on this show, and everyone has talked about it, you should never be surprised by someone winning in especially that pro stock field. And to keep the conversation going even further, look at the final rounds. We have KB versus Elite. It doesn't matter where it plays. That storyline is going to continue to be fed. That storyline is going to be there. But to say you're surprised to see Aaron win, what surprises you about that? And I'm not saying that you said that. I've heard it. People talking. Friends talking on Facebook and different things, people always say, well, they're surprised. And Competition Plus right here, who in the hell is it that surprised? I'm just saying everyone. I'm not picking on one person in particular, but anyone in that pro stock category can win. I mean, you look at most of our finals are KB versus Elite or 2 KB cars, but I mean, we're knocking at a door in a time where that class is full of talent. And I mean, if you want to be surprised about something, I'm surprised that we didn't see Alex in the later rounds. You know what I mean? So not the weekend that he was looking for. So if you want to be surprised about that, I would say to be surprised about who's not making the field versus who's winning the field.
Yeah, anyone to say that Aaron is a surprise, no, he is in one of the best cars with the best teams, and it's a KB versus elite type of thing going on. That's not to say that there are not satellites and independents that can get the job done, but when you look at what Aaron can do in the shop and in the car, we're going to be talking about Aaron Stanfield for a very long time, and not just the driving capability, but the tuning and finding extra horses under the hood capability as well. Man, look, Pro Stock Motorcycle, what a weekend they had. You mentioned Angie
Wow.
Smith. I was surprised that she had the issues she had in eliminations. I actually picked her to win. I counted over 20 200-mile-per-hour runs from all the qualifying rounds through the rounds of elimination. Wow.
Dude, remember when it used to be like, okay, 200. What about 200? Let's go 200. No, I'm looking for now, like, where's 205? Where's where's 210? Where's this? I mean, I'm that class is going to continue to be stronger. And I think with the transition that they made and the changes that have been made there, you can't overlook the 200 anymore. It's going to happen week in and week out. And I think, what they've learned, and now going down to, in the Western swing there, I think in Pomona, there's a lot of data there. So watch out, hold on. But again, here we draw this picture. We draw KB versus Elite. Now it's, the Smith family versus the Hines family. So which, the Hines racing team. So I just think we've got a lot there that, these storylines are going to continue to be told. But in Pro Stock Motorcycle, you had an up there. I can say you had an upset because no one was expecting that.
No one was expecting Karen Stouffer to get that win, but she rode. Look, great performance all day with the bike. Never hit 200, but we're talking about 197, 196 mile per hour through all eliminations. Round one, 001 light. It's then 039 in E2, E3, 003, E4, 044. That was her worst light of the day, if you want to put it that way. She rode exceptionally well and nabs her first win in, nearly 2 years. What a great win it was. And then she also said, hey, this win is to honor Kyle Spiel. That was a great move by her. But, man, she rode exceptionally well. And it goes to show you that even though we're impressed by 200 to 205, you don't have to go 200 to win still in Pro Stock Motorcycle.
No, you don't. And like you said, it's impressive, especially after 2 years. Looking down in the comments, Lee, and I'm not going to cut it short, but Stan always comes in and says there's no mention of the GOAT yet. We're going to talk about him, Stan. You can't have a show and not talk about him. You know what's going on. We know what's going on. And in the words of the great Stevie Ray, which video is dropping soon on my YouTube channel, Outlaw Performance ENT, he knows it. We know it. But you can't have a racing show, period, in this day and age, and not talk about Mr. Steve. Can you catch me if you can, Torrance? I think that's what he should change his nickname to right now, because he's unstoppable.
Definitely. What him, Richard Hogan, Laganas have got going on right now, it ranks up there with what anyone else has ever done, whether it's Dixon, Schumacher, Johnson. It's right up there, if not beyond. Honestly, Sam, have you looked at the points? I put it out earlier today, like on Monday Morning Racer. I was shocked. Like, do you realize how far this man is?
But but the target is on his back, and yes. It's not like a little crosshair. It is a big Like I'm talking Target, the store that we all have and we all love to hate. That target is about that big. You know, the bullseye is that big on his back right now. I mean, is he going to do it? Will he sweep the Western Swing?
He has got the best chance of anyone in a very, very long time. The consistency is there. Man, they have clinched the spot to the countdown. By my calculations, it is roughly a 3-race, 2.5 round, and some qualifying points lead that he has right now. They're clinched.
So what you're saying is, if he decides in Pomona, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna go surfing for the day. You know, sign some autographs, go back to the beach. You're saying he's still that far ahead where, you know, hey, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to show up and show out anyway and continue to put on a class act. You know, he could be the Torrance crew, the Capco boys. You know, there's nothing like it. He knows how far ahead he is. Even when he wins, you still get the guns are blazing and everything. And it's just cool to see the Capco boys and the Capco team really have fun with this. You know, as they're doing this, there's no arrogance. You know, a lot of people, you know, in a situation like this, as we're all calling him the GOAT, could get really, really, you know, cocky and everything, but they're just out there having fun and doing what they love to do. So to see that, to continue to see them, you know, be a class act and continue to keep going, man, I appreciate it and I like it and I applaud it.
Hey, 426 Hemi, he chimes in, and I did want to bring this point up, but old Pops, Billy Torrance, he got it done in Super Comp in Division 5. So the Capco boys were getting it done even beyond Sonoma. There in the drag racing world. And you know what? I'm glad Billy got that win and Steve got that win, because so often people get to like the top fuel ranks and no one wants to recognize that, you know, like Billy and even Steve, you know, they bracket race. They've raced in the lower divisions and got it done there and worked their way up. It's not just a matter of, oh, I got a bunch of money, I'm going to run top fuel. That hasn't been the case.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't know if you saw this comment, but it is here on Facebook. It says the bikes are running the shorter tracks, parachutes like Top Harley. What do you think? So I'm guessing Todd meant, are we going to put chutes on the Pro Stock bikes? I don't see that coming yet. Now, like I said, if they continue to push the envelope, which they're doing, which 200 is, you know, a tip of the cap every week, that is a question for our pit insider. Maybe he will know. Maybe he'll have some idea of that. Who knows? But me personally, I don't see it coming yet. Could that change? Who knows? But thank you for the question. I'm going to write that down. And maybe we can have Matt or someone answer that question while we're down in Sonoma.
So, man, I'm going to bring the photo up. Congratulations to Steve Torrance, Robert Hyde, Karen Stouffer, and Aaron Stanfield for winning the Sonoma Nationals there in sunny California. And we're looking forward to the Winter Nationals in summer coming up here this very weekend. But Sam, we're not just going to talk about NHRA drag racing. I want to bring this photo up. Look at that beautiful pro mod right there. Craig Sullivan, the 49 Mercury. Dude, he got it done.
I'm going to tell you this.
In NMCA, debuting that car at US 131 Dragway, Martin, Michigan, wins the pro mod class in the MCA. Brand new car, beautiful car. It is not a Camaro.
No, Lee, I'm going to say this. The real champion of this car goes to whoever in the hell spent that much time doing that paint job.
Dude.
Like, that's the real champion in this whole story. The guy or girl that did this, wow. Like, their hand still is cramped up, and who knows how long that was painted, but their hand still has to be cramped from all those lines that are in that thing.
Man, look, beautiful ride. And it has always shocked me, the pro mod guys, how much they will spend and put in a paint job on cars that are, well, kind of known to hit the wall and get destroyed. For example, Freddie Scriba, I think I'm saying, I might have it wrong there, but in PDRA competition and Northeast Outlaw Pro Mod competition, man, his Sorcerer Pro Mod is just, oh, it's beautiful. Amazes me how much these guys will invest in. We're not just talking about wraps. I mean, we're talking about legitimate paint, layers and layers.
My thing is, though, Lee, like, you put that much into it, you better drive the piss out of that thing to make sure it does not hit the wall. Because that phone call to that painter got to be like, hey, man, I know you don't want to do this again, but I scratched it going into the trailer. Because that's the only time you better call him.
Yeah.
So
Right. Well, look, I'm going to bring up this card later on. We have Mike Salinas as our guest on the show tonight. Definitely looking forward to talking to him from the top fuel ranks, and then being car owner of so many other ranks with all the daughters that he has. But if you notice, Insider Jeff Arend, we're going to be.
Yeah, who is that guy?
Next.
Who is he?
He's the Insider.
What does he inside us on? Coors Light?
Yes.
All right. Well, with that, I think you should break to a commercial, and we will bring the Pit Insider, a.k.a. Mr. Jeff Arend, a.k.a. the Jeweler, on right after these words.
Competition Plus Apparel, folks, check it out. It is the source for the place of where you can believe what you read on the internet. Merch there, and also throwbacks like Sam's wearing, but throwbacks like Scotty Cannon stuff. Check out Competition.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
Mr. Coors Light, a.k.a. Jeff Arend, on Power 106.9.
I have no idea why I keep bringing up Coors Light all the time.
Who knows? Who knows? Hey,
well,
Jeff. What's the weather like in California?
It's nice. I live like a mile from the track. It's like in the 90s during the day, but it cools off to like high 60s at night. The Pomona track's going to be cool. I mean, I've never seen them run 2 nighttime qualifiers. Usually you run at like 12 and 3 or something because of the noise restrictions. But we're going to run at 8 o'clock, and I think we run at 4:30 and 7:30 on Saturday, and then a really early start, 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So I expect it to be pretty packed.
So if you live that close to the track, I think I'm just going to crash on your couch.
Yeah, you just have to like get in line. So Sonoma, like that was a pretty good race right there. Just like Denver, was pretty packed all 3 days. Lots of spectator attendance, lots of good questions, people coming by the pits and asking things. Weather was fantastic, just like California, obviously. And I'll tell you, like, even though they only have the one nighttime qualifying show that some people aren't crazy about, and we've had it for like the last year, basically, on Saturday, going in the last round of Funny Car, which obviously I pay more attention to, working for Jim Dunn and stuff, there were a bunch of cars that really hadn't run that good yet. I mean, big name cars, J.R. Todd, Paul Lee, John Force. I mean, John Force wasn't qualified when he pulled up to the starting line to make his run. And then a lot of the independent teams made their career best runs, which bumped all those guys out. So it was so much fun to watch, seeing guys getting bumped in and bumped out, and who's still in the show, who has to qualify, who's not in. Kind of remind me of the good old days. And it was only 19 cars there. But, with all the teams kind of helping each other out, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but lots of big teams like a DSR or whatever will help out smaller teams. And everybody's got around the same kind of parts now, superchargers, pistons, heads. You can't really do any modifications to them. So the chance of having a really tight field is a lot better now. It's not like the good old days that everybody talks about, but they don't remember, John Force be number one, and the number 16 guy might be like a tenth of a second or a second behind him or something. Now, I mean, you're getting all these cars wrapped into a little tighter package, and it makes it tough for the bigger teams who are losing a run over our normal deal with 4 runs to get in. So I really enjoyed watching it. It was really fun. Jim Dunn Racing, we made a good run on Friday night, ran 404. Not spectacular like Alexis DeJoria run 389 or Caps or whatever, but a good run for a smaller team, and made us feel pretty good. In the end, it got us in the show.
In the show, and yes, you got to love the drama that qualifying like that can produce, and we haven't really experienced that in a while. I think teams definitely have to step it up in those moments when you know that, hey, we have got to put a number on the board. We've got to show up. We can't just put it in the beams and idle down the track. This is a question I have for you, Jeff, and I think you're a great guy to ask since you are the insider and so many years of experience out there. Right now, especially West Coast, we're not lacking for funny cars. And I find it interesting that we're not lacking for funny cars, yet we are lacking for top fuel dragsters when you have the potential of blowing up a very, very expensive body. Unlike in top fuel, if you blow up, you're probably not damaging anything on the body except what you would mechanically, even with a funny car. So why so many funny cars?
Well, that's a good question. So it seems that's kind of cyclic a little bit. So you'll have years where you have lots of funny cars and then not many dragsters. So a lot of people will either switch over from a funny car to a dragster, like a Brandon Welch, let's say, who's going to be racing in Pomona, because it's a little easier to get in the show. And then for a little while, there was tons of dragsters and then no funny cars. So, if you look at the years, it kind of goes up and down a little bit. Why there's more here, I'm not sure. I think we got 18 funny cars and 13 top fuel cars. But the 18 funny cars, I mean, most of them are pretty quality cars. And as we saw in Sonoma, like if you have to race during the day, it makes it a little tougher to get down the track. It obviously puts pressure on those bigger teams to make a good run. I mean, look at John Force. Like I said, he was the last guy to run, and he wasn't in the show. And I think he ran low ET of the round, like a 398 or something. So sometimes, like with a fuel car, you can get a little bit over center, so you back everything off, and all of a sudden it runs like better than you thought it would, which I would probably surmise that's what happened there, because I'm sure they just wanted to get in the show. And the margin for error on top fuel or funny cars when you're tuning them is not really all that big. Even if you want to slow the car down, from running a 395 to a 405, which you think would be easy, there's a lot of things you got to do. You got to take some power out of the motor, but if you do that, you got to take some fuel out of the motor as well, so it doesn't drop cylinders, and then you got to take some clutch off it. So you start adding all those things up. Sometimes it's pretty hard just to take a car that's really fast and slow it down just a little tiny bit, like a tenth of a second, to guarantee your spot in the show. So, none of this stuff is easy. That's for sure. Like fuel cars are very unforgiving. If you goof up on one or two things, like Tim Wilkerson had a big fire against us in the first round. It's just no margin of error. Almost any other car, an alcohol car or whatever else you're racing, you can kind of be on the safe side and, slow it down a little bit and not really be that far off. But, fuel cars are definitely very hard to tune. And, if you make one change, you better make like 2 or 3 other ones if you want to make a half decent run.
All right, there we go. I will say this, Jeff. I do have to wonder with Chris Morell's Little City Racing Charger and as much flake as he's got in that beautiful paint job, if they have read the safety data sheet, and if it happens to burn with the carbon fiber, if it's more toxic because of all the flake in the paint job. I do wonder. It's like 3 pounds of just flake. It's amazing.
Maybe 30 pounds. I've known the Morells for a long time. I kind of helped them get licensed in the nostalgia car a little bit at the beginning, and known Mike and Chris for quite a while. And it was funny, they rolled up there, and not that their car doesn't run good, but when it put a cylinder at like 100 feet, you're like, all right, it's going to run like 430 or 440. I think he ran a 419, which was probably close to his career best on 7 cylinders. So it was really cool to see people like him and Gerardo and Alex Milodonovich and a few other people make some great runs, personal best runs, even though a couple of them didn't qualify. They really put the pressure on the big teams.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, what?
You've got mail.
All right.
Got mail. Hey, so a question comes in from Mike O. Mike, I'm sorry, I don't want to ruin your last name, but he basically says, if you were King Hoo-Ha of NHRA right now, what are the issues that you were seeing and how would you solve them? So give us one of the things that I guess you're seeing out there and how you would, I guess, make that change.
It's a pretty good question. Lately, the races have been pretty well sold out. So Bandimere was, crazier than I've ever seen before. Sonoma was really good. I think it's not just NHRA, obviously. NHRA obviously puts on the shows and brings it to your track. But the track promoter, like a Bill Bader or a Bandimere, those guys really know how to make it good for the families. So when there's families coming out, you want clean restrooms, you want reasonable food, and you want things like that to make it better. I had some ideas a while back that I told to Graham Light. I think every seat should be reserved. That way you don't have to get there at like dark 30 and put a blanket down for everybody to sit. I think there should be adult stands and then kid-friendly stands so that if you go with your family, there's not some people overcompensating on, not Coors Light, of course, because those guys are cool, but on other stuff. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see them, the qualifying deal, I mentioned this a long time ago. I would like to see them get the 16 people up on the stage, that qualified, and go to the number one guy. All right, who do you want to race? Not the 1 versus 16. I want the number one guy to pick who he wants to race. I want the number two guy to pick who's left, and so on. And I think that would create like a lot of rivalries. If you're trying to get in the top 10, you can pick the guy who's like just ahead of you, so you can maybe knock him out and get a 40-point swing. There are quite a few things I think you could do to make it better. I had talked about, having a little set of stands, like mobile ones, that you roll into different people's pit at all the races, in the pro cars. And they could sit there and watch the cars getting serviced. Maybe the crew chief or the driver's out there with a microphone. People are asking questions. You get answers. There's a lot of races I go to, and I hear people talking by the ropes, and they're telling their friends like what's going on with the car. But most of the time, it's not really what's going on with the car. So I think a little education would be good for a lot of people. Have them ask some questions, more fan interaction, right there with the teams. So, but overall, obviously, NHRA is like the big game in town. There's other people who have tried that maybe haven't done as well. And overall, I think our sport's really healthy, especially this year. Now we're kind of out of the COVID deal.
No, and I like that. I like that a lot, especially that rivalry thing. And I think, hey, even if we don't do that all year, maybe in the Western Swing, there's a different flavor. There's a different, I guess, about the Western Swing, or maybe the countdown. I don't really see you doing that then. But in the Western Swing, hey, you know what? I'm number one going against this person. Maybe I'm trying to, like in Steve Torrance's deal, right? He's trying to clinch, the Western Swing. So maybe if, let's just say, I don't know, I'm just going to say Clay Milliken's like, you know what? Hey, I want to take a crack at you and I want to, defeat you on your throne. It shakes it up because now, I'm not running against this guy and this is exactly what is run. You can't already have that tune-up made. You go up there, the cars are already in the staging and you go. One final question here from Stan. He says, Jeff, why are the cars slower this year? Did I miss a rule change?
So, I mean, it all depended on the conditions, obviously. There have been some Friday night sessions we've had where very few cars made it down the track. And sometimes it seems the track is prepped almost too good because, the track gets really cool, which makes it a lot harder to get at wheel speed and you'll probably shake. And there's other times you run at night where you're thinking, I can throw everything at it and it comes loose. That's a pretty tough question. I mean, you saw Dell and Caps, I think, went 389, which is a pretty badass run, in my opinion, in a funny car. And you've seen some pretty quick runs by Grubnick and Brittany, in Top Fuel and a few other cars. So I think when the conditions start coming around later this year, you'll definitely see some good runs like, Maple Grove or the Motorplex or whatever, when the track temperatures get cooler. Probably some people don't know, but it's not really the air temperature or even the density altitude that makes a big difference in fuel cars. It's strictly the track temperature. So the cooler the track is, for the most part, the better you can run. So if you're running in the summer and you get the sun angles pretty strong on the track and it's heating it up, you just can't put the same power you can when it gets cooler.
Oh, hey, Lee's got his mic muted. Guess what this means, Jeff? Jeff, yeah, let's go, Jeff. Cheers.
Cheers.
All around, everybody. I hope you guys at home watching, wherever you are, you know about the Competition Plus friendly drinking game. Every time Lee's mic is muted and he says something, we all get to take a drink. So thank you, Lee, for that. Thank you, Jeff, for your pit insider information. I will see you in a couple of days, buddy.
Sounds good. Take care,
Thanks,
man.
Jeff.
Have a good show. See you.
All right, and right now, we're going to bring on the boss, Bobby Bennett, and he's got some thoughts, some words from his time there at the Sonoma Nationals. Bobby.
Is this a recap? Bobby, before you start, is this a recap?
Yeah, I'm wearing the new Competition Plus hats. We got a new batch in. And, of course, wearing my Mongoose 1978 U.S. Nationals champion. Excuse my office, man. We've been thrashing here. Actually, we are working simultaneously on 3 episodes of Legends, the series. Kenny Bernstein, Billy Meyer, and Ed the Ace McCullough. McCulloch, not McCullough.
Those are some big names. Big names.
Oh yeah. We've got some good stuff coming, including one on Pat Musey. But what I came on was to talk about some of the stories from the NHRA Sonoma Nationals that appeared on Competition Plus in our event notebook presented by Jerry Bickle Race Cars, Nitrous Outlet, and the fine folks over at McLeod Clutches. One of the things that we wanted to touch on is that where the testing grounds and the training grounds is coming for our fuel ranks. Now, in the years past, we always thought the top alcohol dragster ranks. Well, maybe not so much. It's not a lot that you can relate. Well, I mean, there is that you can relate between a top alcohol funny car to a fuel funny car. But at Sonoma, let me straighten my hat up. Heck, I can't see it. Anyway, at Sonoma, we had 5 drivers competing that are alumni from the Heritage Series and the Nostalgia Funny Car ranks. So, in fact, you had 2 of them line up, Jason Rupert and Stephen Dencham line up. Well, you had Alex Miladovich, or I know I'm the hot for teacher guy, Tony Gerardo, and then you had the Chris Morrell. That's 5 cars to come out of there. The A fuel rank, that continues to be a breeding ground for future top fuel drivers, but I'm thinking that maybe the Nostalgia Funny Cars might be the place for the fuel funny cars of tomorrow. But guys, I can't believe you missed the biggest story of the Sonoma weekend. It was right there on the front page and slapped you in the face, and you missed it. Talking about
and what was that?
Talking about the GOAT. Did you miss the GOAT's greatest achievement? Yes, there's the deer in the headlights look. Hey, so photographers Jeff and Mike Burkhart grabbed a nail in the tire of their car. So they go around looking for some tools to try to fix it. Well, Bobby Lagana and the champ, Steve Torrance, took time away from their celebration to not only find the tools for the father and son photography team, but also fix their tire for them. So, I mean, it just goes to show the character of these guys. Steve gets beat up a lot over the Cameron Foray thing. And I swear to gosh, nobody ever out there screwed up in this world. Everybody points a finger. You know, this is my brief get off my freaking drag strip moment. It's just like, you know, none of you can pick up look, it wasn't right. It was the heat of the moment. And even Steve, how many times does the guy have to apologize for something? And yet you'll still have one person that comes on, well, I don't like him because of this. Well, big freaking deal. If you knew all I did when I was younger, you wouldn't like me either. Because, you know, I've been known to cut an ear off and let Jesus put it back on for people, you know, in my earlier days. Now that I'm the kinder, gentler guy, I don't do that as much anymore. But
now, Bobby, I mean, you know, we saw the lean and mean photo earlier today.
Oh, yeah.
And
oh, yeah.
I mean, come on, man. You know, you might not be lean no more, but the mean part might still be around.
I don't know. Since I caught the, well, I ain't gonna say it because I gotta know I ain't. That thing that come out of China, since I got it, I've lost 40 pounds. So I'm now down to a slim 194 pounds.
If you won't say it, I will. It's the Chinese virus.
There you go.
All right,
I say the Chinese weapon of war, but that's just me. But anyway, I've lost now I think it's 41 pounds. First 20 was from that, and I don't know how the other 21, but I ain't arguing because now I didn't wear it today, but I can fit in my Dale Pulte Buick Miller High Life Warrior shirt now.
There you go.
I thought I was forever gone from wearing that shirt. But you know, it just goes to show, you know, these guys, they didn't have to help these guys. And I've always said that the definition of character is when you do the right thing when nobody's watching. And they did that. They did it with no, you know, fanfare or anything. But I've come to expect that. Knowing these guys the way that I know them, you know, that's the way. I'm trying to fix my head. There we go. Anyway, but you know, that's one of the things. You know, another thing, I don't think the guys that run pro stock were very happy about not having Denver on the tour. Yes, it did make it a lot easier going from Norwalk to Sonoma, but many drivers, race teams really enjoyed racing at Denver. Number one, because Denver has some awesome fans. They do. And Matt Hartford was one of those that says, you know, we wanted to race Denver, you know, wasn't a fan of it not being on the schedule. So hopefully when the schedule's configured for next year, they'll be back on there. And one thing that I'm watching, and we don't know what's going to happen with the regulations going into Pomona, whether you're going to have to wear a mask. I can tell you that I wouldn't care what I'd forked over for a ticket. If I had to wear a mask and sit out there in that heat all day or at night, I would not be out there at the racetrack. Sorry. Just not going to do it. But I'm cheering for the NHRA to keep getting these kinds of crowds that they're getting so we can start getting these drivers bumped up in the purses, you know. So you know, we're still not up to full on par with what we used to be. But I think that, you know, NHRA needs to look at, yes, I know they have to recoup from last year, but last I saw, we all had to take a bite of the poop sandwich, you know, when it came to revenue. Right.
Right. The NHRA has had some great events so far this year. And I would say the ones that weren't, well, great, were still good in consideration of where they were and what they were going through. I mean, man, Gator Nationals, it was still technically under restrictions. And I'm like, what restrictions? I mean, it was slammed, and then Atlanta was slammed. And you look at, I think, you know, Norwalk had a decent crowd. You see Sonoma, you see Denver.
I think the only race league.
Yeah, but you have to have a loaves and fishes gathering kind of to get Norwalk to fill up. You know, that many people.
You do.
I mean, It's just so loaded. And the thing is that, you know, one of the reasons, you know, I hear about this, oh, there's no cars coming, the NHRA circling the drain, you know, the car counts are down. Well, you know, a lot of that is because we don't have as many full-time touring teams as we used to have. So we need to lean on some of these independent teams to kind of fill that void. Well, you're not going to get those independent teams until you can get that purse back up to where it's paying these guys to where they can, you know, make some money to come out there or make it worth their while, you know. And the days of when you had a short field, you could go grab your top fuel car, come fill it in and make some money and keep your head above water. Well, that's not the case anymore, you know. So again, NHRA's got you know, they're on the right track, and nobody's saying that they have to throw the purses completely up to what they used to be. But on the races that they do well at, there could be, you know, a percentage bump up. And I think that gesture of goodwill would go a long way with a lot of these racers. I mean, look, the guys who are funded, they could care less. But guess what? You remember when we watched wrestling when we were kids? Some of us still watch it. You still got to have those guys that go in and get their ass kicked by the superstars to have the show. So,
Sam, you know what annoys me out there in the world of drag racing to no end? I hear people phrase it this way:
automatic
the
race cars.
NHRA is dead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How can people be saying that?
It's just, you know.
Hey, whoa, Bobby. You asked me a question. You said Sam.
Well, then answer it then.
I couldn't. You were talking. Anyway, Lee, I agree with you. Sorry, Bobby, I had to do that. But I agree 100%. How can you say a sport is dead when you look at it? Now, back to your point, the only race other than Norwalk that I can say was not packed was the first Vegas race, the 4 wide. And that's because they still had restrictions. I don't want to say I can guarantee you, but look at the trend in which we're going. All these races are full. I mean, you're not going to see this anymore. You can't at this point, and I'm just going to say it. Sorry, Bobby, but you can't hold people inside no more. We're sick of the crap. Wear your mask if you want to. Don't wear it if you don't want to. I don't care. But we love doing things, and people are like, look at camping. You can't go out and buy a camper right now because everyone was so sick of being in the house. They went out and bought campers, right? The industry has changed. People have come to the fact where we're just not going to sit down and take it anymore. And the people that are loving drag racing or getting out or experiencing it for the first time, bringing new people because people needed something to do, it shows it's growing. So if you think that it's dead, maybe you should go back and watch The Grinch because your heart needs to grow about 4 sizes again, because I don't know. They're wearing blinders, and I'm not talking about your Oakleys, Lee.
Sam, I don't know what clued you in that I could possibly be a tree hugger and think that you were going to offend me by saying that.
Well, I'm just saying, because there's just some things on air. Like I said, the Chinese virus. Some people just say you can't say that.
If you don't like it, don't watch it. That's the way I look at it. I had some guy, Kathy Fisher, is one of the greatest people that I have ever met in the industry. And people talking about, I won't listen to a video recap with a female on there and making comments about her voice. And I'm like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. If you don't like it, don't come around. I don't care. We'll survive without you. And that's the same way. If I offend you, then don't come back.
Yes,
learn that definitely. I have an opinion different than yours. It doesn't mean that I'm right, but it doesn't mean I'm wrong either.
Right. Well, Bobby, we still got some. Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, no, just this comment right here. Love the truth on the show. That's what it's all about. I think that's why Bobby picked us, maybe. I don't know, Lee, but I think he's given us a platform, even when he comes on, that we can talk about how we truly feel. And it is just our opinion. Lee's Monday Morning Racer. Lee goes on tangents. If you guys haven't done it, go back on the Monday Morning Racer and check out some of his stuff where he goes on tangents about what some people say. And that's what it's about. My podcast, I let people be themselves. Tell how you really feel about the sport. Just like you talked about earlier when Steve Torrance punched Cameron. If you ask Cameron about it, he said, dude, it was in the heat of the moment. I understand. We're all people. Cameron gets it. He said it. If the shoe was on the other foot, he would have done the same thing. Our sport needs more of that. We need more. And I'm going to say it again. We need more of John Force saying the F word and getting fined by Fox or whoever else, because that is how he feels. When you see Antron being himself, that's how it feels. When you know, I guess the only one that I can say, and I don't think it was bad, but you can't tell me Leah Pruitt in Denver didn't want to throw her helmet and throw, and get upset when that happened. But she understands, I've got sponsors there. I'm on national television. I've got that. But we didn't see what happened when she went back to the pits. You guys have to understand this. We are humans. We are people. This is how shit goes down. Excuse my French. I'm done saying bad words, but it has to happen. We need to see raw emotion. We see it in every other sport. Why not in our sport that we love? Like, it doesn't matter if he punched him in the face or if he hit him with an open hand. It doesn't matter. It was how he felt, because he felt that Cameron was playing a game when Cameron was like, hey, dude, I'm strapping into the car for one of the first times. Get over it. Stuff happens. Period.
Ed the Ace McCullough on the upcoming episode of Legends of Series, he says, today's world's a different kind of world. It's just where you can't punch a man in the mouth anymore.
Bobby, we got some more time still, and I've got to ask on the scheduling. Right now, Pro Stock runs a limited schedule compared to Fuel. There's definitely arguments that Fuel should be running less than what they are even running, and a lot of the teams, they even express they might want that.
Who come up with that idea? Fuel should be running less. Oh my God!
Plenty out there are saying that they should run less.
Well, I tell you what, that's people that ain't ever been to a drag race before, right?
No, there are people who own these cars and teams.
What kind of people you hang around with, Lee? Maybe you ought to take the shades off. Good gosh almighty.
Hey, Bobby, how about we get to the actual end of the question before rebuttal? How about this?
Okay.
In particular, Pro Stock, with it being less compared to the rest, where should they not go and where should they go? What track loses the date for Pro Stock?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, sorry to cut you off. I just made my blood boil. I think that we probably need to keep Pro Stock at the traditional venues. You remember that, like, we used to have like the big events, the cornerstone events, the Gators, the Spring Nationals, even though the Spring Nationals aren't what they used to be, nor the Summer Nationals. I think we need to keep those at the corner. Maybe look at the events where the travel is kind of far off. And I hate to say one region, because I may speak once and the racers, like, that's a place where we love to go. But I can tell you, Denver should never be off of the list, because the guys, from what I understand, did like it. Sorry about that.
And with Denver, the facility, I've always heard great things about the facility, but I think, especially for the Pro Stockers, there's probably a sense of pride that I won there with how challenging it is for them to tune and get down the track from everything I've heard there. It's kind of like winning at, a Darlington or winning at the Nuremberg Ring or something like that. It's an extremely challenging place. If we win there, man, we are a good team. We are good tuners.
Well, congratulations to the genius who thought it would be a better idea to put the pro mods on the mountain than the pro stocks. That the pro mods on the mountain ran their course. And I don't know what they were thinking, trying to, Wes Buck took that program and he presented it masterfully, but it ran its course. All right. And, many times in the NHRA, they got good intentions, but they always, well, I don't want to say they always, but most of the time they come up a day late and a dollar short. Not saying anything about the Sport Compact series or the 10.5-inch tire ventures or any of that stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Oh yeah, the good
They've
stuff.
stepped out, and
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, why was that a good idea? Gee, I think I'll take a class with 3 diametrically opposite power adders that we can barely keep parity on sea level, and we're going to take them all the way up the stairway to heaven to drag race and expect it to be an even race. I'm like, golly, it's like Stevie Fast Jackson could have had a rocket up his ass and he still wasn't going to beat Jose. He wasn't going to do it. Wasn't even going to come close to it. Because you're not going to beat a turbo car up on the mountain. If they had done the research and looked at the previous West Buck events, they would have seen that. How many times you see a nitrous car win? I've only seen a nitrous car win up on the mountain one time, and it was in pro stock.
So okay, that poses a question here. Since we're going to keep this conversation going, do you think a lot of people learned something from what West Buck did up on the mountains? So, Stevie went up there and gave it a run for his money a couple of times. You had all these other drivers try different combinations up there. So do you think people now are like, you know what, it's not really worth me to go. Maybe I should go because of what they've seen from, what was that? He called it the biggest bet. Well, I think the biggest, baddest race at CBO up there on the mountain. I mean,
they're always going to learn something. The drag racers, they're going to come away with something, but what does it mean in the long term? I mean, what is that going to be? I mean, is the risk worth the reward? And I think that the NHRA at this time of challenges that they're going through, trying to recoup from a previous year, and they're racers who are also trying to battle their way back. Why would you take an unproven commodity, at least in your marketplace, and replace it with something that was proven? That's my whole point.
So no, I mean, I agree. Oh, go ahead, Lee.
So, Bobby, I went out and found them. The proof.
That's it. That's it. Do you think? Look, I didn't put that motto on the back of our shirts for it not to be true. Where you can believe what you read on the internet, and that's just I think it's just a great deal. Now, am I partial in this whole thing? Yes, because Jeff and Mike Burkhart are photographers for CompetitionPlus.com. But Steve and Bobby didn't know that at the time. They just helped them because someone needed help. And that's what character is. Look up character. The definition is when you do the right thing when nobody's looking. At least it is in my book. And that's, the way I've tried to build my business, tried to do this out here. I may not always write what is popular. I may not do or say what is always popular, but I can promise you that before something goes up on our site, I'm going to do my due diligence and make sure it's something that you can trust, that you read, and that, I'm not all about getting a story that's going to be forgotten in 2 weeks and destroy somebody's career. It's not me. Am I about telling a story? I want to tell a story and write a story and you not even know what my opinion is. That's what being a journalist is about. And when I created Competition Plus 21 years ago, get that, 21 years ago, that was the idea, is to create journalism, real honest to goodness journalism in a wild, wild west atmosphere called the internet. I wanted to take the same guys who were writing the words in magazines, printed magazines that you felt like was the be all end all. And I wanted to convert that over to the internet where people didn't have to pay for that, where people still had pride in their craft. And I can tell you, I have pride in my craft. And it's not about, you may see the rumor section go unupdated for about a month. But I bet you, by gosh, when you see something go up there, a friend of mine, Willie Dog, said, if I tell you a rooster's going to lay an egg, you better get a pan underneath him. So there you go. If I tell you a rooster's going to lay an egg, you better get that pan ready to catch it.
Hey, Bobby, speaking of the rumor mill, kind of heard this story. Maybe, I don't know, it wasn't on Competition Plus yet, but in the rumor mill, there's going to be a Competition Plus shirt with a Slammin' Sam and the Monday Morning Racer. Have you heard anything about that potential story?
Yes, and the truth is that when I buy the lottery ticket and it wins, that's happening. No, guys, look, I want to do it, and if we did enough pre-sales that we can make it happen. Right now, it's taking everything I can to keep riders and everybody on the road to keep Competition Plus on the cutting edge, because now, whereas we used to be able to get a rental car for $35 or $40 a day, now it's about $175 a day. A flight that used to cost us $350 is now $800. And hotel rooms, it's just ridiculous. We are, we're trying to cut corners where we can and do what we can. Look, if I had my way and I was independently wealthy, I would have you guys tuxedos to wear every show. I would have your own merchandising trailers going to all the races. But I think that I have a better chance of becoming a Chippendales dancer than that has of happening right at this moment.
Well, I think we've just lost the show.
just keeping it real.
Yep.
Man, and if we thought that Fletcher Cox episode took a dive, there you go, Bobby Bennett becoming a Chippendale dancer. Wow. All right, Bobby, here, before we let you go, who are your picks? Give me 3 classes, 3 picks for this weekend coming up.
It's hard to bet against Matt Hagan at Pomona. Hard to bet against him. But then again, John Force has a way of making his way to the winner's circle in these special races. And this is the first time. You got to pick one. Well, I go with Hagan. But remember, all right, this is the first time Hagan. Since 2001 NHRA's run night races. So, there we go. Erica Anders, going to beat her in Pomona. I think she's big. Okay. And Stevie Torrance, I know I'm going out on a limb, but it's hard to beat the man. But I do think that he could get a challenge from that Justin Ashley. You talk about a kid that is good for the sport. We got so many good drivers that are good for this sport. And I mean, I couldn't be any more happier than I am. And for those of you that think the sport's circling the drain and going to crash and burn and all that sea of negativity, do me a favor and go watch NASCAR. Then you could see what really circling the drain is all about. I mean, they do go in a circle for a reason, right? And I got news for you.
Oh man.
I can't wait. I can't wait till Tony Stewart drives the top fuel car. I can't wait.
No, he's driving an electric. He's driving an electric car.
Oh, give me a break.
That's what he said.
Why would you want to get in one of those cars?
Hey, we're not going to talk about it yet, Bob, because we have a Sam I told. No. Like, we have a Sam I told you so moment coming soon.
No.
So, all right, Lee.
Electric car is like having a romantic encounter with a mannequin. That's what it is.
All All right, Lee. Funny car. Who do you got?
Force.
Force.
Well,
Pro
that's why
stock, who do you got?
Because you want to take him, Steeler.
Who do you got? Pro stock.
Greg Anderson.
Ooh.
He's going to get it done.
Who do you got for top fuel? Who do you got for top fuel?
I'm going to go Brittany Force.
Oh, okay. All right, you guys. And the results are in. With the number 1 pick in Funny Car, I've got J.R. Todd. No, I'm sorry. Sorry, J.R.
Why you gonna do the man like that?
No.
Yeah, you're gonna get kicked out of the club now.
No, I do. See, I'm in a toss-up here. I've got J.R. Todd and Alexis DeJoria, but you know what? I'm going to go with what my mouth said, so I'm going J.R. For pro stock, it was already picked, so I got to choose another one. I'm going to come back to that. Top fuel. No, top fuel is a toss-up for me. Really bad toss-up. Because I have Justin Ashley and Antron Brown as my tied there. And I don't know. I'm going to have to flip a coin on that one. Unless you guys want to give me like a mulligan and I can pick 2 there.
You can pick 2. You're not going to win with either one, but you can pick 2.
Ooh. All right, you know what?
I will say you probably got it closer than any of us, except that Torrance guy's pretty bad to the bone. Then I went out on a limb with that one.
Yeah, look, it's like right now in PDRA Pro Nitrous. I mean, it's no fun to pick Jim. It's almost a race for second with what Jim Halsey's doing.
I heard the best quote.
We used to do it in NHRA Modified. Gene Fulton had 30 of 32 cars in the modified eliminator field running his engines. This is like modified all over that. Yeah.
I heard someone say, it was on the Caruso page. He said, the guy, he's like, well, what place are you? And he's like, well, I'm in first behind. Oh God, now you slipped my mind. Who'd you just say, Lee?
Jim Halsey.
Yeah, he's like, I'm in first, but Jim Halsey's in his own league, so I don't really have to worry about that. And I'm like, man, that's bad. So I don't know. Pro stock. I still got to give you guys one for pro stock. Oh, I don't know. You said Greg. You said Erica. You know what? I'm going to go Troy Coughlin. There you go. Those are my picks. So we'll see who wins next week. But and then they said Alexis is going to mess up JR. Ooh. See, I'm torn between that. Maybe it's the tequila. Maybe I don't know. Who knows? But she's been running really good right now. So, and Dale Worsham knows this. I don't want, I'm kind of worried. I don't know. I'm worried there. But I think Alexis
getting a place to eat. Oh,
I am.
You like my
so
wife.
many great options.
Where do you want to eat?
But Bobby. All right, Bobby. Well, we got our picks in. We'll see how we all stand here after next week. Well, I'll let you guys know because I'll be down there. So, yeah. Well, Bobby, it's been great to have you on.
Thank you for having me on.
It has.
Yes.
And look, before we close this out, because as of right now, our scheduled guest has not showed up in studio. Not sure what's going on there, but let's talk about what that team did this weekend, and I'm definitely interested in your perspective. When I saw the paint scheme, I said the source in which I saw it, they win whether they win or not this weekend concerning the Scrappers Top Fuel Dragster. And I'm going to bring it up right now, this photo in the pits with the Blaine Johnson theme look-alike. And there you can see in memory of Blaine Johnson. So, Bobby, seeing something like that, I'm sure it's got to bring back memories. It brought back memories for me. I was a little kid, and I can remember waking up on that weekend and hearing of Blaine's passing at Indy. So, seeing that and it being a memorial to something 25 years ago, and a win there. What were your thoughts on that tribute?
It's just Mike has become the master of the tributes. When he came out with my dear parted friend, Tom the Mongoose McEwen, in the 1978 paint scheme, that just touched my heart. I mean, I remember finding out, and I'm getting to the Blaine Johnson thing, but I remember hearing that Tom had passed, the Goose, when I was in Australia. I was getting ready to come home, and I sat there for a whole moment and just cried like a baby. I mean, he was such a good man. And then for Mike to come back and do another great person in Blaine Johnson just goes to show the character. Again, I use that term a lot, character. And I think Mike Salinas is a high character racer. He is just sorry, I was checking on Mike Salinas. But anyway, Blaine Johnson was just, the sport lost the day that he passed. And I had the pleasure of being able to spend time with Alan Johnson doing an episode of Legends, a series, The Legend of Blaine Johnson. And I encourage everybody that when they get done with the Power Hour here, if they'll go on our YouTube page and put in the Legends, the series, Blaine Johnson. It was just a candid, 30-minute documentary on the life of Blaine Johnson and the rise from nothing for the brothers. And then to have Mike do a tribute to him is just incredible, because once you saw the celebration at the end of Sonoma when he won the race the last year, there's no unseeing that. You could never forget the enjoyment, excitement of seeing that man celebrate a win, and they were just bad to the bone. They were just bad to the bone, and no telling how many championships they could have won together.
Definitely. And folks, a link is going to the chat right now, Competition Plus, concerning where you can see that video. It was able to go out on YouTube on Competition Plus TV on the stream. You can find it there. And maybe we'll have that later posted on Facebook so folks can find it easily. Bobby, look, thank you for your time.
Hey, hold on a minute. Before I go, I want to apologize to all of our fans who are fans of the Legends of series. I lost a lot of momentum, and I lost a lot of focus when I got sick. I know people say, "Oh gosh, you just got sick." It wasn't that. No, it was the worst thing I ever encountered in my life, and it knocked me off of my foundations all the way around life. And unfortunately for me, Legends, the series, is one of those that I just could not wrap my mind around and make it happen the way that it deserved to happen. I'm starting to get my bearings back on. I'm starting to do more storytellers and stuff like that. And the thing about the Legends series is that it, at minimum, I had 60 hours into every episode. And it just seems like I go through the day and there's just never enough hours in a day to get it all done. But I wanted you to know that I've been working fervently to get ready. I think we're on season like 5 or 6. I'm not sure exactly. But I am working hard. Thank you, Tom. I am working hard to get back to where we were. And once I get cranking, oh boy, it's going to be coming, because we really do have some good interviews. Like I said, the Kenny Bernstein one, you sit and you sit and listen and feel like you're sitting in the presence of a marketing genius. And he was, and he is. And then you talk to Billy Meyer, a guy who lived life by the seat of his pants and didn't care, and not afraid to admit he made mistakes. And thank you very much, Hemi. And then Ed to Ace McCullough, gets emotional talking about his regrets in life, talking about how he's sad, how he's disappointed that people know him better for being able to land a right hook than winning Indy 6 times. And another one of his famous quotes is, "I didn't punch out as many people as I get credit for." So, and then you go to Ted Jones and Pat Musey and those names, and the late Frank Rupert, that we were able to interview him before he passed. So all of that, I've got a lot on my plate, and I'm working my way through it, and just kind of tough when you're running a magazine that stays on top of everything drag racing. But thank you for your time, guys. This is your show. Yes, I get credit for being my show, but it is your show. And when I saw you guys out there, I don't want to be like that. What is that, the Human League song? Where you were working as a cocktail waitress in a bar or something like that, and I noticed you. But you know what? You guys have been everything that I thought you would be on this show and more. And you ought to be proud of yourself.
Well, Bobby, we look forward to, I think, I just looked at the YouTube channel. I think you're on season 7, unless you're adding to season 6 of The Legend. So, man, 7 seasons. And I know that is a popular series. I loved it even before, ever knowing you. So definitely look forward to what you got coming out. Man, I know everybody's understanding of what you went through, because it was rough. I had you on my show, and you shared how rough it was, and you wrote on it. And, hey, take your time. And when it comes out, it'd be like fine wine with those Legend series coming out that you've got.
Well, there are lingering effects. And I have no problem being candid about what COVID did to me. I have moments of memory lapse, which that was one of the things, people say, oh, well, that's just getting old. No, not, I used to remember things. When you get up or you're going down the road and you can't even remember the name to Zaxby's, or you can't remember facts you used to remember like the back of your hand and stuff like that. When you can hardly breathe at 96% oxygen rate is about all you can muster. You feel like a blown pro mod running up on Bandamere. That's what life has become for me, and I overcame one of my fears, and that was going to California. When I went to Sonoma, that was my very first trip to California since I got sick. I've only flown like maybe 5 times since I got sick. And it hasn't been easy. It hasn't. There's a lot of psychological things that goes along with this. I mean, I went for 10 days before I would have any human contact after I was cleared by government officials for human interaction. If you don't think that don't mess with your mind, when you're sitting there and you're running a fever like 105 and you just want to die and you can't, messes with your mind even a year later. But anyway, didn't mean to depress you guys. I'm just keeping it real.
No, and that's, yeah. And, if you guys want to check out anything in an insight interview with Bobby Bennett about what he went through. I know, Lee, you have that on the Monday Morning Racer channel, and I also have a in-depth conversation with you, Bobby, on my YouTube channel, and that is Outlaw Performance ENT. Go and check those out. Bobby Bennett, who's on your track, who did it, and why, and Bobby dropping some knowledge. But it's been great. It's been a pleasure, and we will talk with you soon, Mr. Bobby B.
Yeah. Hopefully next week we'll get Susan Wade on here. She's our reporter in Pomona. Make sure you check out our notebook daily. We work hard, bring you 4,000 to 5,000 words a day. I didn't even know I knew 4,000 to 5,000 words, but I managed to pull it out. And we're talking about original content, not regurgitated press releases.
And I'm going to drop a live video, so stay tuned because you never know where I'm going to be in the pits.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. See you later, Bobby.
See you guys.
Sam, different show, but good show. Glad to have Bobby on and discuss several things. And folks, look, remember, Competition Plus apparel, some cool things over there. Yes, the Competition Plus side, just like what Sam is wearing, but you got a lot of old school t-shirts too. And I'm sure that there is going to be more rolling out. I got to pick up a Scotty Cannon shirt, man. Scotty was the dude back in the day. I got to pick one of those up.
I talked to Bobby earlier, and he said that the shirts that just got released were pretty much already sold out. So thanks to you guys out there. If you haven't got it already, please go out there and get your shirt so we can see you styling and profiling. You'll see me at the racetrack. Lee, we had a damn good show.
It was a good show.
I think it was a damn good show.
It was a good show.
Lee, who do you got coming on your podcast? What do you got going on the Monday Morning Racer? Let us know before we hit the top end.
Right, man. So Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Between the Slicks, where we talk everything drag racing on the Monday Morning Racer platforms. So that's Facebook, YouTube, and you can also find it on Twitter. We're going to be talking to Jim Harmon. He is a sponsor on Alex Miladanovich's car and Tim Wilkerson's car in Pomona. He also was on one of the cars, if not both of them, for Sonoma as well. And we're going to be talking to him and getting a behind-the-scenes look on why people invest dollars into this sport. So if you've ever wondered why people are pitching in and throwing dollars behind a funny car, a top fueler in the sport of drag racing, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday Morning Racer, nearly every platform except for Instagram. You can see it live, Between the Slicks, and you will get that behind-the-scenes info as well as before the guests. We'll talk a little bit of drag racing. Man, for me, this weekend, I will be at Chris Graves' Nitro Chaos at Eddyville Raceway Park there in Iowa. It's going to be a great show. We are talking about fuel altered versus funny car versus top fuel versus front engine dragsters. Going to be stellar. 80% nitro and up. I'm looking forward to it, Sam.
Yeah. And guess where I'm going to be? I've mentioned it. I'm going back to Cali. I will be in California for the Sonoma race, so I hope to see you guys there. If you see me, please say what's up. Please say how it's going. On my show, I'm going to do a little something different. I'm going to tell you in the direction that Outlaw Performance ENT, myself, Slam, and Sam is going in. So we are headed into a direction, and we want you guys. So we're going to have a live interacting show with you guys, the fans, drop some knowledge, answer some questions. So if you want to, come over to Outlaw Performance ET on Facebook and YouTube. We'll be streaming live. Other than that, like I said, bring you guys all the information. If you guys don't know, you can listen to these back on all your major podcast forums. That is Power Hour, the Competition Plus Power Hour. If you need to email us at any time, it is powerhourcp@gmail.com. All your questions for Mr. Jeff Arin. For me, that's about it, Lee. Like I said, we keep rocking and rolling, and on this journey we are going. So that's all we've got for you here today, Lee. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure, but it's been another high altitude pass. We're going fast. We're driving fast and taking chances. Till next Tuesday, y'all. I'm Slam and Sam, the Monday Morning Racer. On behalf of Competition Plus Magazine with the Pit Insider, Mr. Jeff Arin, we will see you next week.
In the race for quality, there is no finish line. Jerry Bickle Race Cars is a one-stop chassis shop for drag racing performance parts and race components. For over 50 years, Jerry Bickle Race Cars has been an essential part of racers' plans for building world champion race cars. Our parts department is stocked with every part a racer might need. Log on to jerrybickle.com for more information. We build anything with doors. jerrybickle.com.